I did not anticipate receiving the email. It arrived at 5:18 a.m. as I was concluding a quarterly forecast that no one had asked for, but everyone required. Subject line, Weekend of Celebration. Please find the itinerary for your private flight. Attached. The body was diminutive. You have been performing extraordinary labor. The CEO desires to acknowledge you personally. Please pack for 3 days. Dress code business, casual to semi-formal. There is no explanation or hint provided. Rather, a PDF of AA note from corporate affairs and a flight to Aspen. I blink as I gazed at the screen. I had previously been employed by Trident, Systems for 5 years, commencing as a contractor, rapidly ascending and delivering expedited. I had expanded our analytics department from 2 apprentices and a malfunctioning Tableau license to a multi-million-dollar operation. Enterprise clients are served by a dollar intelligence hub. However, no one ever expressed gratitude. Contrast to this. I am Kelly. I have never been fond of surprises, particularly those that are unwanted, that commence with champagne and conclude with betrayal. The interior of the jet was frigid, white and sleek, reminiscent of a hospital, attired for the wedding. I sat at the rear of the room, imbibing on citrus water in silence. A flight attendant provided passengers with complimentary heated towels and compliments that appeared to be predetermined phrases. Graham, the CEO, was situated across from me, Telford. The man with a smile that never reached his eyes and a timepiece that was worth my student loans. Clarice, his wife, was flicking through a fashion magazine as if we were not present. Additionally, in close proximity to her, Zara, their daughter, is scarcely 19 years old. She possessed a tablet, long lashes, and luxury manicures. Didn't look up from once until we landed. The same Zara who'd posted last week about how real jobs are for people who relinquished. I had closed my eyes. I was now seated next to her, securely fastened into a jet with the Trident logo. The resort in Aspen was not visible on Google Maps. Chalets that are privately owned, fireplaces were ignited prior to the consideration of wood, and floors were heated. They presented me with a suite with a handwritten note and a view of snow-covered trees. We are immensely pleased of you. Let us raise a glass to the future. GT. After a brief moment, I allowed myself to believe it. This is possible. They may have observed me. It is possible that it was no longer solely the mediator who operated behind the curtain. The Telfords hosted a dinner that evening, in the main lodge. 10 individuals, all of whom are members of the executive leadership. I wore a tailored emerald dress that I had not worn in 2 years. Graham stood when I strolled in. Arms wide, his signature smirk was prominently displayed. Kelly, he grinned. Please take a seat in this location, adjacent to Zara. My stomach clenched as I smiled pleasantly. The dinner began with, the evening began, with champagne, progressed to lobster, and concluded with anecdotes regarding our progress. Zara was commended by Clarice for her keen eye for vision. Zara discussed the expansion of her TikTok account as if it were an MBA. Graham then stood, raised his glass, and he cleared his throat. We're here to commemorate not just the work Kelly's done, he said, but the direction in which we are headed. He turned his attention to me and smiled with a tense smile. You have been extraordinary. Without a doubt, you sustained this organization during several challenging winters. I inclined my head with caution. Nevertheless, the world's changing, he continued, and we are also in the process of evolving. This is the reason why, as of Zara will assume the role of Executive Vision Officer in the upcoming quarter. The room was devoid of movement. He stated it as it was a gift. It was as though he was offering me a sunrise, but my chest hollowed out. She is, he continued to smile as he added, the future. You are the past. He raised his glass. Cheers to new vitality. I also raised mine in a calm, silent manner and said, cheers to the future, This was due to the fact that they were unaware of the fact that I had previously read the contract more effectively than any other individual. 5 years ago, I had negotiated a clause that was deeply embedded in no one else had bothered to peruse the legal pages. Clause that awarded me 3.2% equity, convertible, and with full voting rights. In exchange for proprietary, I developed the system architecture when the company was unable to hire external developers. Graham signed it himself. The email thread and the scanned PDF were still archived. No one paid heed to me at that time, as I was simply Kelly from operations, which is precisely the manner in which I desired them. When dinner ended, I stayed back, stared at the fire for an extended period of time after the others had departed. Zara had smirked as she exited the room. She had said, "Do not be concerned. I will ensure that the interns continue to include you." I refrained from responding. It was unnecessary for me because she did not comprehend, and none of them did, that leadership is not solely about slogans and followers. It concerns the establishment of a solid foundation. Additionally, I constructed this one from the ground up. Subsequent, the genuine celebration had not yet commenced. On Sunday evening, I returned home by air. False driver, no thank you, no follow-up message. Just a text message from Zara. Please ensure that your files are forwarded to me. Next week, we will arrange a meeting to review the handoff. In the same way that I was an assistant, the bullet points from the previous 5 years were included, in a slide deck that she could eliminate. I refrained from responding. Consequently, I gazed out the window of the aircraft. Window, and allow the silence to speak for itself. Sometimes silence is the loudest answer you can give. I took a walk on Monday morning into Trident HQ as if it were any other day. No company-wide celebration, no departure party announcement. Only a few half smiles from individuals who had evidently heard murmurs but were unsure how to inquire. Luis from the product department gave me a subtle nod. Sarah from compliance avoided eye contact. I proceeded to my office, which is currently my property, and took a seat at the desk, the same workstation on which I had originally drew our initial predictive model on the back of a napkin. Opened my MacBook. Beloved. The credentials were still operational. I had not been interrupted by anyone. Not yet. My email inbox had already began shifting. Zara had forwarded an email correspondence with the subject line marketing refresh strategy, next-gen positioning. There was an abundance of jargon. Phrases such as authenticity, disruption, and brand reimagination, but our organization is